Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you all are doing well today. We've got another vintage watch we're going to be taking a look at today. Today is a Longines from the 1950s. We're going to give you some close-ups of this piece. I'm super excited to show it to you. I think it is the definition of versatility when it comes to vintage watches. I think Longines does produce a lot of pieces that are very similar to this that have a lot of versatility, and so I'm very excited to show you guys this piece up close and personal. One of the things that I love about vintage Longines is its versatility in the watches that they produced. But what's even more cool is that this is such a simplistic piece that if you have a couple of straps, you can have so many different looks that you can have with this. So what I'm going to do is flip perspective so you can take a look at this piece. In the middle, I'll give you some background information about the piece. So without further ado, let me flip perspectives so you can take a look at this watch. Alright, so let's jump into this Longines watch that I mentioned in the introduction. I'm going to say at the beginning of this video, please bear with me while I work out the kinks of using this camera. It's a new camera I'm experimenting with, so still working out on the focus and all of those things, so I apologize if things go out of focus, but I hope this video will allow you to see how versatile and beautiful this watch really is. So as I mentioned, this is a Longines watch from the 1950s. When you think of versatility in vintage watches, I think this watch really does take the cake, as many people say. This watch is so simplistic that it allows you to really experiment with just about as many straps as you can desire. Just to describe the watch a little bit more, this is a stainless steel watch from the 1950s. Complications-wise, it's very simple: hours, minutes, and sweeping seconds hands in a 34mm stainless steel case, applied hour markers with the applied Longines logo and Longines written at the top, white dial that sort of faded into a nice cream, and a really thin, relatively thin watch that you're looking at and it comes on this stretch bracelet. But I sincerely would hope that you would one would not keep it on this specific bracelet. So, as I mentioned, watches from the 1950s. It's running on the caliber 23ZS, which is a significant manual wind movement from Longines during this time period. So, up until 1948, Longines was using a manual wind movement called the 23M in the majority of their sort of higher end manual wind watches that they were producing. In 1948, they replaced the 23M with the 23Z, and the 23Z was a watch that was trying to sort of move Longines to produce a movement that was a little bit thinner and a little bit more wearable. Up until this point, thinness was not really considered during when you're looking at these pieces, and so they produced this watch. The 23ZS is referring to sweeping seconds, so as you can see there's a center seconds hand there which is sweeping, and that is what the S refers to for the 23ZS movement. This watch was used up until throughout the 1950s. They actually added a 23ZD, which was 23ZD and 23ZDS, which is the D standing for date. So there was actually a date complication that was added to watches that used this specific caliber, and those were used quite a lot. Up until about late 1950s, 1958, it was replaced with the 280, and 1960s, the 360. And so what you're getting in this specific watch is a movement that was fairly significant in the sort of higher end manual wind calibers that were used by Longines post World War II. The watch itself is in really nice condition. As I mentioned, stainless steel case. If you look at the case itself, you'll see, and I have to work on the focus here, so please bear with me. If you look at the case, it's unpolished for sure, but definitely shows some signs of use. If you take a look at the lugs, which I think is one of the coolest parts of this, you can actually see two distinct sort of sides to each of those lugs. This top right one is looking, you can see it quite distinctly. You can see a nice bevel, and it kind of gives the lugs a little bit of texture when you're sort of wearing it, and so at different angles the lugs will look a little bit different. Lugs stick out quite a lot, if you notice, and so it kind of wears a little bit larger than you probably expect. I'm gonna just flip this really quickly so that you can see the case back, but looking at the case back here, you'll see that, and I have to refocus, I apologize guys. You'll see if I get it to focus, come on. You'll see writing there, which basically says stainless steel case back, screw down crown. And while I have it here, you can see that it is a Twinston USA stretch bracelet. It's upside down, but you get the point. And again, case is in unpolished condition, but definitely shows, just shows sign of being worn, which I think is nice. If you look at the crown, it's not signed by Longines, but it is signed with this sort of H figure here. Overall, in really nice condition. I'll put it on my wrist really quickly so that you can kind of get a wrist shot with it, with the stainless steel stretch bracelet. But if you put it on your wrist, as you can see here, the watch fits really nicely. And I alluded to the idea that the lugs stick out quite nicely and allow for the watch to wear a little bit larger, and you can see sort of the angles that I mentioned on the finishing for the finishing and bevels on the lugs itself. Again, looks really clean. Super thin, which is I guess one of the goals of this movement, but just fits really nicely on a wrist. Nothing too fancy, nothing too out there or super noticeable, which I kind of like. It's very discreet, it's very simple. But what I do think is cool about this watch is it allows you to maybe experiment with different types of straps or different types of things that you could wear with this. I can totally see a nice sort of bracelet you could wear with this, but again, straps would look really beautiful. I put a couple of ideas in case you were interested in seeing what I was thinking, but I think something like this, light brown, would look really nice with this piece. The watch itself is a little bit, pretty simplistic. This is a pretty simplistic brown strap, which I think is fine, but I do think the color combination of this watch and this strap look really nice together. So that would look quite nice. I also just put something maybe a little bit darker, which I think actually allows for the watch to pop a little bit more when you put it on something a little bit darker. I'm not a huge fan of the stitching here with this type of watch. It kind of looks out of place, but I do think this color combination will also look very nice. You could also be super adventurous, put this on something like a blue purlon, or you could put this on maybe some sort of NATO or something like that. Maybe NATO would look a little bit strange, but I do think you could probably give it more pop of a color if you were interested in doing something like that. Very simple stainless steel watches are sort of like your strap monsters. Winds, and let me just let you hear the sound of that movement winding. Again, just a really nice and versatile watch. As I mentioned, this watch is available for sale on Life on the Wrist, so if you are interested in this piece, head over to Life on the Wrist and you can see more pictures and read our full article about this watch if you are interested in taking a look at it. But I will for sure be enjoying this piece as I can have it. Again, I apologize. Thank you for bearing with me while I sort of learn the kinks of this camera. Hopefully you were able to see this watch and see it tick, and maybe you've fallen in love similar to the way that I have. With that said, I will flip perspectives so we can close out the video. Hope you enjoyed taking a look at this 1950s Longines. I really love this piece. I'm about to take it off of this stretch bracelet and put it on a strap so I can enjoy it. If you want to see some pictures of this watch on the straps that I decide to put it on, you can check us out on Instagram. We'll definitely be posting pictures over on that on our Instagram. and it'll make its way to Facebook and Twitter if you follow us there as well. Be sure to check out this piece. It's on our website. If you go into the link in the description, you'll find a link to this piece. We'll also have an article where we discuss this piece in depth, and you can check out the listing at the watch store if you're interested in it, to see some more pictures and some more information there as well. I'm looking forward to doing some more videos on some of the vintage watches we've gotten in, so stay tuned for more vintage watch videos. If you are a watch enthusiast and enjoy these videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button and share these with your friends who may be interested in watches and vintage watches. I'd love to have them as part of the Life of Nerds family. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for us if you're feeling generous, it really does help us out. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.